take a look at this dua. Do you notice anything interesting? Let's take a look at Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam. He probably had the greatest kingdom ever in history. He had control of the jinns, he had control of winds, he had so much wealth. This is pretty much a known fact about him in Islam, and of course even in other religions like Judaism and Christianity, they also believe this. Now taking a look at this is the dua he made for a bountiful kingdom. Do you notice anything special that Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam did in these verses? There are actually so many different things you could get from the small dua, which I'm going to talk about. But what you probably don't realize right now is that there's a very deep science to making dua. A lot of people think of dua as just something you do at the end of your prayer, maybe in sajda, and you just ask Allah for something and maybe He's going to give it to you and maybe He won't. The truth is there's so much more to dua. There's so many little secrets. Certain sahabis knew these secrets and they became super wealthy. Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam of course knew these things because he was a prophet. He knew exactly the proper du'as to make in order to get kingdoms and wealth and pretty much anything he asked for. So I don't want to yap too long. There are two key principles that Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam embodied through this dua that I'm going to talk about, but to be honest, there's so many more things when it comes to dua. The first thing is utilizing a name of Allah. And notice what name it is. It is Al-Wahhab. At the end, Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam says, Innaka anta al-Wahhab. What that means is, you are the most bountiful. Al-Wahhab is a name of Allah, and it basically means the most bountiful. So if you think about it, it makes sense. Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam is asking Allah for a bounty, and he's calling Allah by his name, the most bountiful. What you might be doing is just saying, Ya Allah, give me bounty or give me rizq, but you don't utilize any name of Allah. You don't utilize a name like Al-Razaq. Al-Razaq means the one who provides rizq, right? The provider. But it's an authentic fact that if you call upon Allah by his name that's specific to the dua you're making, that dua is going to be way more likely to be accepted and you're going to actually get what you asked for. So when you're asking Allah for wealth, for rizq, for bounty, call upon him by his name Al-Wahhab, by the name Al-Razaq, by Dhul-Fadl Al-Azim. All of these different things and all of these different attributes that Allah has, these are things that you need to be calling Allah by. And the simple principle behind it is you're glorifying Allah. If you glorify Allah, Allah is going to raise you in rank. It's a very simple principle, and honestly, everybody knows it intuitively. It's just that it's something you have to express in your dua. Now, you've probably heard of the 99 names of Allah, basically the 99 attributes, and you can literally choose any of these attributes to call upon Allah by. But there are a few special ones. Of course, there are many names mentioned in the Quran. The verse we just looked at is one of them, and it's a very important one. But there's also special ones mentioned in the Hadith. Like, for example, Dhul Jalali wal Ikram. And that basically just means the possessor of majesty and honor. So again, it's a form of glorifying Allah. And there's also the name Hayyu Qayyum, which of course you probably know from Ayatul Kursi. And the interesting thing is that the Prophet ﷺ alluded to the fact in Hadith that there's a special or sort of secret name of Allah that if you call him by that name, there's 0% chance that that dua will not be accepted. And of course, I don't know what that name is, but it is kind of a secret for us to find out. And at the very least, you should be calling upon Allah by these names. And if you're interested in that secret name of Allah, go look at those many hadiths because you might be able to find something actually very special. The second thing is actually something that comes before the dua. Notice what Prophet Sulaiman ﷺ said, or specifically what he asked from Allah. The first thing he said was, Rabbil Firli. You probably know that means, Ya Allah, forgive me. And this is the second principle of having all of your du'as accepted, is knowing how to utilize istighfar. The first thing is having istighfar right before the du'a. If you do this, your du'a is way more likely to be accepted, and this is pretty much the way of all of the prophets alayhim as-salam. So right before making a specific du'a, make istighfar. But even past that, making istighfar and a lot of istighfar in general increases the chance that your du'a is going to be accepted pretty much all throughout your life. And there's this very interesting story of this person who basically narrated to this sheikh that he made istighfar 30,000 times a day. At least I believe that was a number. And basically the result he got from making that much istighfar a day is that he never called upon Allah except that Allah answered his dua.
أنا أقول لك حاجة عني قولها للناس ونقولها والله ما أقولها رياء ولا سمعة لكن أنا وجدت الأثر في الاستغفار. قال أنا أستغفر الله قرابة في اليوم كم تتوقع يا شيخ؟ والله أني أنقل كما قال الرجل يقول قرابة 30,000 مرة أذكر الله سبحانه وتعالى. لما قال لي هذا الكلام سألته سؤال وجاوب لي جواب والله دمعت منها عيني. قلت طيب يا حبيبي، أنت ما شاء الله إنسان تذكر الله ولسانك رطب بذكر الله سبحانه وتعالى. قلت له إيش حصلت من الاستغفار؟ إيش وجدت أثر الاستغفار في حياتك؟
جميل، سؤالك ترى في محله.
تعرفون إيش قال لي؟ قال لي هذا الرجل والله ما رفعت يدي أطلب الله حاجة إلا قضى الله حاجتي.
لا إله إلا الله.
إلا أعطانا الله سبحانه وتعالى سؤال.
So istighfar is something that's literally a supercharger to dua. If you feel like your dua is not working, there's a good chance it's because A, you're riddled with sins, and B, you're not seeking forgiveness enough. And this is due to the fact that sins block your dua. They are kind of opposite forces that work against each other. The less you sin and the more you make istighfar, the more your dua is going to be potent and it's actually going to be accepted. And yes, there are actually many narrations about the fact that certain sins will completely deprive you of having your dua accepted. And this is something you really need to watch out for. But anyway, those are the two main points: calling upon Allah by His names and, of course, seeking forgiveness. Things that you probably already know, but you probably are not implementing, and things that are such quick fixes. And once you actually do implement them, you'll see that your dua just changes overnight. And of course, I just mentioned two things because these two things are the way of the prophets, may peace be upon them. But of course, there are so many other things that you should do and improve your dua that I talk about in other videos. For example, reciting salawat upon the Prophet, reciting certain du'as and certain phrases, and of course, timing of the dua, like for example, during the tahajjud. But the next time you make dua, use these two techniques and actually have tawakkul in it working, and you'll see that your life will change so quickly, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.